This is Optimal Living Daily, episode 1138, The Freedom of Authenticity and 7 of My Biggest Flaws by Joshua Becker of Becoming Minimalist.com. And I'm Justin Malik, your personal narrator, reading blogs to you mostly, sometimes books, anything that I think will help you optimize your life. Today's post being from Joshua Becker, a super popular minimalist. Before we get to it, I'm excited about this sponsor because it comes from the University of California, Irvine's continuing education programs. I actually attended UCI, and they have a wide range of programs from business to IT, healthcare, finance, law, and more, and over 60 convenient certificates and specialized studies programs on campus and online for the working professional looking for career advancement and personal enrichment. Check out UCI's continuing education program. Spring quarter is coming up and registration is open. Visit ce.uci.edu to learn more. That's ce.uci.edu to learn more. For now, let's get right to it as we optimize your life. The Freedom of Authenticity and 7 of My Biggest Flaws by Joshua Becker of BecomingMinimalist.com. Quote, "Pride must die in you, or nothing of heaven can live in you." Andrew Murray. 9 months ago, Leo Babauta wrote a blog post titled, "I Failed." Immediately upon reading it, I wished I had written it. It was good and true and honest, but more importantly, it was freeing for both the reader and writer. More recently, I've been moved by the words of Brian Gardner and his continued pleas for authenticity. I read his thoughts on living unfiltered, and again, streams of freedom flow in his writing. Sarah Peck also has a similar influence on me. There is great freedom in authenticity. One evening last month, while sitting at my dining room table, I suffered a dark moment of depravity. I received good news from a friend on the telephone. He's a good person, someone I admire and look up to. Understandably, he began telling me some of the wonderful things that had happened in his career. In a moment where I should have been rejoicing alongside him, I felt jealousy instead. I knew it was wrong for me to react this way, but it was the first emotion that surfaced. And no matter how many times I congratulated him, the bitter feeling of envy would not depart. A few days later, unable to shake my jealousy, I called a friend and poured out my heart. I expressed my frustration with my weakness and asked for help. She responded, "You just accomplished the most important step, admitting this out loud to a trusted friend. Confess your weakness. The sooner you call it what it is, the sooner you're able to move on from it." Again, I was reminded there is great freedom in admitting our weaknesses. It removes the artificial walls we have built around us. It provides the pathway to begin addressing our faults. It opens the door for accountability from others. It embraces a life of honesty with others and with ourselves. It offers opportunity to connect with others as they see themselves in our weaknesses. It allows others to love us for who we truly are. And it reminds us we are not alone in our faults. To be human is to be weak. And yet, as much freedom as there is to be found in authenticity, it is still difficult. Admitting weakness still feels a lot like admitting weakness. But when there are so many advantages to be found in it, perhaps the greatest step is to admit our fear and humbly become transparent anyway. Allow me to start. I am flawed. Even more difficult to admit, I struggle with the same flaws over and over again. I know them intimately well and sometimes feel powerless to overcome them. 7 of my greatest flaws. Number 1, jealousy. I've struggled with jealousy as long as I can remember. Typically, I blame it on a twin brother who is 5 inches taller with much broader shoulders. But my jealousy and envy run deeper than mere sibling rivalry. I find myself jealous of the skill and success of other writers, and I'm jealous of those who are younger but have accomplished more. Sometimes I find motivation in this envy, but most of the time it is only crippling and burdensome. Number 2, desire for approval. I seek praise and approval from others to an unhealthy and damaging degree. This desire keeps my heart and mind focused on myself too much. Often it inhibits my ability to even be myself. I sometimes write and say things just because I know people want to hear them. And far too often, I withhold strongly held opinions because I know they are unpopular or fear they will not be accepted. There is no freedom when the desire for approval exceeds the desire to be yourself. Number 3, lack of self-discipline. I am less self-disciplined than most. I write often about the importance of rising early, turning off distractions, and focused devotion to meditation. I've experienced beauty and joy in each, and yet I sleep in far too many mornings each week and have played far more Candy Crush on my iPhone than I'd even care to admit. I waste countless hours each week when I should be working or devoted to more important pursuits like meditation, reading, or exercise. I desperately envy those who do not need a deadline to complete a project. Number 4, selfishness. I love generosity. It is important and valuable. It is wonderful to write about, but difficult to practice. Even when it was difficult, I donated 10% of my income to charity, sometimes even more. I am thankful for the financial and the life lessons I have learned from the discipline, but nowadays, money is not tight. I have more liquid assets today than at any point before, and my expenses are the lowest they have been in 10 years. And yet, during a stage of life when excessive generosity should be easier than ever, I find myself holding on to more than ever. My selfishness is being revealed during a time of plenty. Number 5, guilt over physical possessions. I own more things than I need. I own less than most, but still more than I need. There are books under my bed and tools in my garage that will never be used. There are CDs and DVDs and couches, yes, couches, we intend to sell but haven't yet. Some of the closets in my home are embarrassingly full. I believe strongly in the benefits of owning and buying less, and I've written often that my practice of minimalism is much less extreme than most. But still, I continue to have this nagging feeling that I am less qualified to write about this topic. Number 6, lack of empathy. I am less compassionate than I should be. It's not that I don't care about the emotional needs of the people around me, it's that I don't even think to notice them. As I dig deeper into this fault, I continue to run into my desire for approval from others. I go through my day so focused on being noticed and validated by others, I don't even shift my focus long enough to notice the pain of others. And number 7, protecting my image. I suffer through a constant need to protect my image. I rarely express weakness to even my closest friends as I work desperately hard to protect their thoughts about me. I rarely ask for help. To do so would be to admit my need for it. Indeed, my pride runs very deep and expresses itself in numerous ways. Perhaps its greatest expression is my desire to pretend that it is well placed. There's a great freedom in authenticity. I'm thankful for those who have gone before and modeled it for me. In a world where our public image can be meticulously crafted through Instagram and Facebook and Twitter and personal blogs, we must work hard to embrace our authenticity and overcome the fear associated with exposing our faults. I hope you will join me in doing just that. You just listened to the post titled The Freedom of Authenticity and 7 of My Biggest Flaws by Joshua Becker of BecomingMinimalist.com. And this podcast is all about education, so I'm really happy that UCI is a sponsor, specifically the University of California, Irvine's continuing education programs. I attended UCI, live almost next door to it. My brother and sister both graduated from there, so that should be testimonial enough. But their continuing education programs are particularly impressive. You'll be able to advance your career in as little as 6 months. They have over 60 convenient certificates and specialized studies programs on campus and online, designed for the working professional who seeks career advancement and personal enrichment. Perfect for you as a listener of this show. Programs cover business to IT, law, healthcare, finance, and more. And online courses offer flexibility, but also a real immersive online classroom experience. You get to collaborate with your peers, which is super important. So check out UCI's continuing education program. Spring quarter is coming up and registration is open. Visit ce.uci.edu to learn more. That's ce.uci.edu to learn more. I'll leave it there for today. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll be back tomorrow where your optimal life awaits.